Can you give me the elevator pitch?
The elevator pitch? Yeah, I can. So, hey, we're John and Poppy Kelly. We've been photographers for over 20 years. Being in the Valley here, we do a variety of different photography from headshots and families, seniors. But a great referral that we're looking for right now is
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Focus Stack podcast. We're coming up on just about the 2-month anniversary of the show, and we've had a lot of really great episodes. And if you are interested in subscribing, you can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you'd like to follow the show on Instagram, I do have an Instagram where I post some reels and updates for different episodes. Be sure to follow that. Something that I've had set up, but I haven't really talked about too much in the previous episodes is I have a Patreon account where you could become a Focus friend. And it's just $3 a month. It helps me cover the cost of the streaming services and some of the other costs associated with the show. So if you're interested, it does give you the opportunity to ask questions to the guests, and also it'll put your name in the credits. Outside of that, if you're a photographer and you'd like to be on a future episode, there is a link tree in the description on all of the different platforms, and you can find a form in there and you can sign up to be a photographer, and I'll check out your portfolio and be in touch, and then we'll work out a time to be on a future episode. So with all of that out of the way, I want to talk to you about our guests that are coming on in just a few minutes. In 2005, I had just graduated with my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Photography. And I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I didn't know what I was going to do in the meantime. So I moved back to my hometown of Wenatchee, Washington, East Wenatchee, Washington. That means a lot if you're from the area. And I applied at a camera store and portrait studio combination shop, kind of a hybrid. And the guests for today, this was 20 years ago. They gave me a shot, and I worked with them through the summer. And I'm sure we'll talk all about their time. But with all of that out of the way, everyone, let's welcome John and Poppy Kelly to the show. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great.
Can you believe it's been 20 years?
No.
20 years.
Doesn't seem like it.
Shocking.
Well, one of the things that I always like to start out each episode with is to have you guys just kind of talk about your path to becoming a photographer. And so since there's two of you, and this is the first time we've ever had two guests on at once. So I don't know if you want to, I don't know who wants to go first.
I'm going to let John go first.
Okay.
So for me, my grandpa was the photographer in the family, and he took tons of slides. He was in World War II in Italy. And so I was able to look through tons of his slides as a kid. And my parents didn't really get the bug, but luckily they did have cameras. I grew up with a Polaroid camera, and they had a 126. That's like a larger 110 cartridge camera. So it wasn't even 35 millimeter. They kept it really simple, but luckily they did push the button. And so we have lots of great memories. And so that's kind of what got me started into it. I always I've always been interested in technology. So anytime the camera was out, I wanted to push the button. And so when I look back at a lot of the family photos, I'm the one missing from them because I got the camera out of my parents' hands and I was the one taking the pictures.
Has that ever changed? Because that's the way I am.
Yeah, it hasn't. No. It was meant to be. So my first camera was a 110 little Shannon that I took on a trip in 7th grade to Arizona, and got a bunch of just terrible blurry pictures. And so really didn't do much until my parents purchased what was then a Kits Cameras, a franchise that's gone now. And they ran it from late 80s until 1999 when we bought it. And they really didn't know anything about photography. So my dad knew about business, and he saw the books and the opportunity came up. And so they went on a 4 or 6 week intensive study and left my brother and I at home, and we had a great time. But they basically learned about photography that kind of came with the purchase of the kids' cameras. So then they took over and started running it, and I was 15 at the time, and I was working at the store, and wore the skinny tie. This was like 89, and so that's when I really camcorders really came on strong in the late 80s. That was like the big deal. So from there, we just worked in the kids' cameras until I went until 91 when I went to Central. I went to college.
Go Wildcats.
Yep. And came back and went away for grad school for a little bit, and then came back in the opportunity. They were ready to retire, and I was looking for something to do. So I decided, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and let me take over. And so I bought the store from my parents. There was a whole thing then. Kids Cameras was going down. So we became independent at that point. And before, it was a whole lot different, because when you're a franchise, you have one supply place and everything is fulfilled through there. Ordering's really easy. There's not much to do. So right when I took over is when we became independent. And that's when we have to seek out all of our new suppliers for all of these things, and found out that we were getting terribly ripped off through our franchise overlords, not only taking our franchise fee, but charging us too much for the gear. And so,
interesting.
Yeah, didn't even know, because you weren't allowed to shop elsewhere. And so my parents, didn't know. They did really well. The 90s were a great time to own that. They had a 1 hour photo finishing as well. Of course, this is all basically pre-digital. And so the film processing was the bread and butter, and then lots of camera sales and tons of camcorder sales. And of course, had all the accessories and everything. That's how I got into photography.
That was a really long answer.
Yeah, I covered it all.
Yeah, you did. Well, and you could just go into 2002. We bought a SpectraView for doing portraits in our store, because our margin had shrunk so much for gear to sell gear. We weren't making enough to pay the rent. And so we had to find something where there was at least a profit margin to pay employees, rent, and everything else. And that's when we decided to take portraits in the studio or in the store.
Were you guys married when you took over the business?
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, that was a whole different story.
That's
I don't know how deep you want to get into that, but we were not love at first sight at all. She was the manager that was working for my parents, passed away suddenly from cancer. And so Poppy was next in line. She got the new job as manager. So I come back from grad school, the young son, boom, going to buy the business, brand new business owner, new manager, total clash. We had power clash. Just didn't like each other. There were other things going on in her life that I did not know about. And so I just thought she had terrible customer service. And so my first order of business that I announced at dinner on January 2nd, 1999, is my first order of business when I buy the store is I'm going to fire Poppy. And and my mom said, she's a real asset to the store. You probably should reconsider that. And that's the best piece of advice I've ever taken. And so I was like, yeah, okay, Mom. And so I didn't fire her. And we clashed, but we learned to work together for the survival. We both needed income, and we needed this to work. And so we were able to work through our differences and then
learn how to be friends.
Yeah.
Like, just be friends. Like, we can get along on a day-to-day, like 5 days a week basis and work together. And that took work. And we had, but we both were invested. I needed the money because I had a kid, and he needed the business to be successful because he just bought it. And so we did a lot of work that year.
And then eventually over time, we realized, hey, there's actually something between us. And it's just been awesome ever since. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack your photography origin there, Poppy. I just didn't know. I didn't really mention that you were a couple. So
yeah.
We're almost the same person most of the time. We're almost one person.
Yes. In fact, when we got married, we decided to do this little marriage counseling bubble test that the pastor that was going to marry us, we weren't churchgoers, but he had us take this marriage test. So we sat in separate rooms, took this bubble test, and he came back and said, Well, the machine says you're either the same person or you're lying because your answers are way too compatible. You guys, this isn't reality. And we're like, he saw us take the test. And so he knew it was all legit. And that just solidified it that much more. Like, okay, it's official.
And then we got married on our front porch.
Yep.
And we still live in the same house.
Well, that's
our starter
amazing.
home.
25 years later.
We're still waiting to grow up
That's it.
and get taller.
It's the advantage of being short.
Yeah. We're still so short.
So how did you start photography?
I got interested in photography while I was still in high school. I took a class and I loved it. And I thought I would love to do this forever. And so the next year I did yearbook, staff photographer, and that was so much fun. And I realized that the power of a camera is you're just capturing these memories for people to hold on to forever. Like if you pull out your yearbook now, you look back and see your friends and you remember those times. And it's just such a piece of treasure like that you can capture for people. I didn't have that as a kid. I didn't have family pictures. I don't have a lot of those. And I think that's why it meant so much to me to be able to gift that to other people, and share that. And I loved it. I started with an Olympus OM1 that my godfather brought up for my 16th birthday, like it was a car or something. I was so excited to get that camera. And I used that until I switched to Pentax after my daughter was born. And that wasn't until 97.
Mm-hmm.
So I used that camera a lot. And then
it was expensive at the time.
It was. And so we both, in the store, we're like, what can we do to offer people more? And we realized that we both like photography and portraits enough that that's something that we could do for other people.
And that's when you added it to the retail space.
Yeah. And it was just so much fun, to do that for people. And now we get to do it all the time. And it's just glorious.
Yeah. So I guess, maybe this is a good time to pull up your guys' website real quick. How did you transition from the retail space to the business that you run today? And let me just make sure I got the screen here. I accidentally closed it. Sorry.
We just rebranded our portrait studio. We renamed it JP Portrait Studio. Our friend Ray helped us come up with that because we thought PJ, but then it'd be like pajamas or peanut butter and jelly. And Ray said JP, and we're like, that works.
And we were one of the few places in town that had a portrait studio that we opened up in an extra room in our house after we moved our store, closed the store and moved out of the mall. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to make sure that was in the name because there are tons of photographers that do on-site work, and we're one of the few in town that works with the studio. We do tons of on-location photography as well, probably 90%. But it's great to have a studio for headshots or for dogs. It's been great. Get that nice isolation so they're not distracted. And a few summers ago, we actually put in air conditioning. So now it's really nice. Now we can shoot year round. It's fantastic. We used to kind of shut it down during the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a difference.
It does. Yeah.
Especially with lights. We're using strobes, and so it ges a little toasty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess, being in business together, what is it like being in business with a significant other?
We love it.
For us, it's been really awesome because we were friends first. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't come to this, being romantically involved and then try to figure out how to work together. We had to figure out how to work together to be friends in the first place, to even consider continuing to be self-employed, because that's what we were doing, switching from the store to in-home business. So we just rebranded, and then we did a lot of marketing, did a lot of, feet on the ground marketing, went around town and introduced ourselves to people, joined Business Networking International, it's called BNI, did that for
about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And that was really great to help us grow our business.
Well, one of the things we really learned, even from being in BNI, is we all work in our business, and we dedicated one day a week to work on our business. So rather than just in it and going through it, you have to spend the time to, create goals and focus and refocus sometimes and working on the business. And that means our connections, our networking, leads, things like not just shooting. I mean, our work is like 10% of this, and 90% of this, click, click, and walking around and talking to people.
Yeah,
And
I was going to ask you what the percentage breakdown was. So that seems about right.
It does. Yeah, about 10% of the time I'm actually physically pushing the button. But the rest of the time it's all the business aspect of it. And I feel that's the real key to being successful. We're not rich, but we are definitely rich in love because we've got our time. And so you have to have a balance of a brain that can do business, but then a brain that can also be creative enough to do interesting and creative photography. And so it's a balance of those two. You can be a great photographer and do all kinds of artsy, cool stuff. But if you don't know how to, send an email or pick up a phone and call somebody or introduce yourself and be able to describe your business in, like the elevator pitch, like within a minute type of thing. Those are the things that you need to really work on.
Can you give me the elevator pitch?
The elevator pitch? Yeah, I can. So, hey, we're John and Poppy Kelly. We've been photographers for over 20 years. Being in the Valley here, we do a variety of different photography from headshots and families, seniors. But a great referral that we're looking for right now is anybody that loves their pet, and especially dogs. So if you know anybody that has a pet and they've been looking for a great photographer, we would love your referral. We're John and Poppy Kelly with JP Portrait Studio. 2 photographers, 1 passion.
Perfect.
That
was great.
I haven't done that for 7 years. We've been out of BNI for a while, but it sticks. It's stuff like that. You need to be able to introduce it and not get too wordy. You have to give them enough words, but not get bogged down.
You have about 30 seconds to get your pitch in there in an elevator.
Yeah, it used to be a minute, but short, attention spans are getting even shorter. So now it's more like you got about 10 seconds, before they're bored and looking away and not listening anymore. So you have to be really quick.
Yeah. I was curious, like what would you say each of your strengths are and how do they complement one another with the business?
Oh, well, we do a lot of things. Like John does 90% of the shooting now. I shoot at events and weddings as a second shooter, and he does the primary. I help wrangle dogs, adjust dresses, fix hair, make sure jackets are straight. I do all the people stuffs, and he does all that. And he also does all the post-production, which is just like this huge monumental task. And I love that he does it now. Because when we first started, it was flip-flopped.
That's what I thought. In my head, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't that what you used to do, Poppy?
It was, and it was flip-flopped. And I got really bad pains, and then my shoulder was messed up. And so we finally found out last year I have fibromyalgia. But thank goodness, like we've gone through this process slowly. So he does all of that now. And so I do the books, I do all the money stuff, taxes, all that kind of stuff. We do ordering together just because there's such a variety of stuff that we have to order, like backgrounds, lighting equipment, portraits, different, what company are we going to go with to, do this wall art? And so that's my job. And then we kind of do social media together. We both are terrible at it. And so that's an area that neither one of us is strong at. So we might need to actually actively outsource that and get somebody that wants to do it. It's a time suck. Social media is a huge time suck.
Yeah.
And I think that, Canva is a great tool. If you set it up, you can schedule your posts.
And you can put in all of your like logos and design assets and stuff, and it does make it really easy.
I love Canva. That, because we used to build everything with Photoshop, everything, all of our marketing period.
Like old school Photoshop too. Like CS5. I mean,
back in the day
too, I think.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Adobe Express is really good too. I don't know if you tried that out.
I haven't. Once I found Canva, I was like, I'm in love. And, we've even printed through there, and the product quality is amazing.
Yeah, just some flyers, not portraits.
But flyers with our pictures on it.
True.
And so I'm super picky about that kind of thing. And that was, our pictures are, they basically are calling cards. So they have to look the best. And so it's important.
Oh, I was just going to add, one of our strengths, I think, that we bring to it is that we are a husband and wife. And so we've got the male aspect and we've got the female aspect. So there's lots of times when we're putting together an ad and I just have to step away from it because I'm coming from it from a man's perspective and I want it to be, boring font and super clear and read it from 2 miles away and get what you need in like 3 seconds. And that's not necessarily the best. And it took me quite some time to figure that out, is that, hey, if we're marketing to females, then I need to let the woman take over here because she has the better brain for it. And that has really worked out. I think, recognizing our own strengths, but then being able to admit to our own weaknesses too, and saying, and sometimes some of the best advice I ever got was sometimes you have to ask for what you need. And so sometimes I ask her, hey, will you take this over, please? Be very direct. And I don't do any input, just let it go. And I may, cringe when it's going out on Facebook or something, because I would never make it like that. But then we get phone calls and we get business from it. So I'm like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, I do all the marketing pieces. Oh, I love it. That is just the most fun. I love doing that, because it's artistic. It's very artistic, but it's already product that's done. So I don't have to touch anything up. He sends, gives me these beautiful portraits to work with. And so it makes my job really easy.
But one of, I think, our best team up is that when I'm, here, she's right behind me, peeking out and making goofy faces. And so I'm getting all these great pictures, and it's not me. It's this awesome lady behind me that's really working the magic to get those moments. And I just push the button at the right time. And so many times, our photo shoots are just fantastic. And yes, I'm technically dialing in the lighting and I've got the, exposure I need. And that's the angle. And, just the right fall off. And I'm all technical. And she can get the people to relax and smile. And, it's such I usually shoot at 200th of a second. So I'm just looking for that little fraction of a second of a time when they come down from a laugh and they're still smiling, and then hit that one. And so a lot of what I do couldn't be done without, my best friend behind my back, literally doing what she does to bring out those great expressions.
Oh, that's really sweet.
It's the truth too.
Family portraits are so important for us that people have incredible portraits of them with their families. And we want to make sure everybody's always included, make sure we get good expressions from everyone in the picture, because that's a treasure. In 20 years and your folks are gone, that's so much more valuable as you age. And it's just amazing to be able to give that to people.
And we like the formal part of it where everybody's smiling and looking at the camera, but we like to mix it up too. So many times I'll do this countdown game that I play. It's 3, 2, 1. You guys pose. I'll push the button. We'll see what comes out, and it allows for that flexibility. So if we show up and a family's a little stiff, I may start with that just to kind of get them nice and loose. And these pictures, they don't even count. Let's have some fun. They usually end up being some of the best ones because everybody's relaxed and everything. But and then we can move them into more of a formal. But we still end up switching heads. There's beauty of Photoshop is you can build
somebody blinks or something.
Yes, totally. We want to get that great base picture where the majority is there, but we always end up switching some type of heads usually for group picture.
Well, the more people you have, the more the odds go up.
Indeed.
Well, and the more people you have, the more odds you have of a talker and a blinker in your family.
And my mom's both. She's the talker and the blinker.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So we have lots of practice.
Yes.
Being fast.
While we're talking about like how you're making the work, I know I didn't prep you on this, but do you care if we like jump into some of these and maybe just talk about that?
That's fun.
Can you remind me how I get to where
So
client galleries?
Client galleries.
Okay.
And we do this, we keep all of our client galleries on a whole separate website so that our main website runs fast. And so this is where we keep all of our client galleries.
It's also an offsite backup in case our house burns to the ground. We have them backed. Everything is backed up digitally in a different location.
But just to give you an idea, click on Finley there under portraits. That's our Finley, orange one.
The orange.
Okay.
So you can see all of our different groups. And then just just do a scroll down, Jim, and you can show what 20 years of different portraits will do. You can scroll pretty fast. I mean, there's a lot there. So just keep going.
Looks like, okay.
All of these were different sessions.
Oh, wow.
So we have some of them locked down. That's why you can't see any pictures. Some are, I've set a thumbnail for it. But scroll faster. I mean,
So go faster. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've got.
I always worry about making people sick when I'm scrolling.
Oh, true. Yeah. I just wanted to show some of the extent, you know. So we're back at 2015. Yeah, and we didn't start using SmugMug until 2010 or 2012. Was it 2012?
I think it was 2012.
Yeah, and how do you guys like SmugMug?
It's been great.
Yeah.
Over time, they've added features finally that I would have liked. But overall, they've been a great platform for us. They link up. It's connected to a lab that we've used for years and years, Bayphoto.
Oh, yeah.
They have several options. We chose Bayphoto originally because they're on the West Coast, so they're in our time zone. If I need to call, that just seems handy to me. But we've been really happy with their product. But we do products at a few different places just because not everybody has the thing, just that one thing. You know, so then you have to buy it somewhere else.
And we still sell, just digitals. We are moving more into you buy the print and then get the high resolution digital with it. So we are moving away from shoot and burn. We've been shoot and burn for years and years. And over time, we just became the most expensive shoot and burners in town. Well, at that point, now we're pushing more of the print aspect. When things went digital, it was great. It was like, oh, my cost of goods is so low. I don't have to buy anything, but we left a lot of money on the table.
But we also didn't see a lot of pictures on walls either because everybody wants the digital to share on social media.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you could just, for people who never heard the shoot and burn term, you want to explain that real quick?
Sure. So shoot and burn is digital only. So what we would do is we'd go to a session, take a variety of portraits, apply a basic edit through Lightroom, lighting, crop, no full touch-up. Just basic editing, put them all in a gallery, send that to the client. They would pick out whatever they prepaid for because we always collected money up front. And so if it was a 10 image package, they would create their list, maybe a couple extras too. We'd charge a little extra for that. And then once I had their list, I would complete their editing. So flyaway hairs, whiten teeth, all whatever needed to be done to complete the editing, and then send them a second gallery that they can directly download straight from the gallery. And so there was no, it was just our time investment. And of course, we had to pay for SmugMug every year.
Sure.
But we weren't paying for
prints
and then reselling them on things. So it was strictly digital for years and years. And so it was called burn because we're that old. You used to burn them to a disc. Now it's all through the gallery. And so the term still sticks, but nobody's burning anything anymore.
Yeah.
So
shoot and upload.
Upload, yes.
And download. Yeah. So scroll back up to the top all the way, Jim, if you will.
Yeah.
And then click out of this and go back to that home symbol next to portraits. And we'll take you into, go down to our portfolio there with the little doggo.
Sure.
There we go. And so this is our online portfolio. And so anytime somebody emails us about something, we send them a link to the portfolio for what they're talking about, whether it's a commercial shoot, wedding and engagement, maybe an event. You can see them all there. So if you click on the pet portraits, that's what we've been working on for the last year, is we've been transitioning more into a luxury pet portrait market. And we love it. It's just been a great time.
It's so much fun. We've never been kissed so much in the studio.
That's right.
Ever.
Oh, yeah.
Or have to mop the studio after a client leaves.
There's so much drool and hair everywhere. It's just awesome.
Our claim to fame for last year is we made it onto the cover of Pets Plus magazine. If you scroll up just the tiniest bit, that second picture there.
Oh.
He's a celebrity cat in our town, and so
what does it mean to be a celebrity cat?
he is the shop cat for Firehouse Pet Shop, the most popular pet store in town.
Okay.
And so everybody knows Carlos when you go in. Carlos, yes.
Yeah.
And
he's
so
sweet.
he made it onto the cover for Pets Plus. We had done a different article for them with the owners of the Firehouse, and that's how we were introduced to Pets Plus. So when they wanted the cover, then they called us up and said, "Hey, can you get Carlos back in there?" I was like, "Sure, bring it on." So we didn't do that blue tint. That's all them.
That's the graphic designer.
That's the graphic designer. Yes.
It's almost like he's electric or something.
Yeah. I think that was the buzz type of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see.
they added all that stuff.
Okay.
We pretty much just shoot on Focus Gray now. We had a variety. You bet. Focus Gray, love it. We
It's
had a
the
variety.
best.
It is. We started off getting all the different colors, and then once the easy masking came along with Photoshop, we're like, hey, let's get something neutral.
Well, and the problem is too, it's not just about the cost of the backgrounds themselves, which is expensive when because we throw it away. Any part that the dog stood on or drooled on, that all gets thrown away after every shoot for sanitation reasons. We just want it to be as safe and clean for dogs as possible. But then the storage, you have to store all these backgrounds, and they're in big boxes.
I've got a bunch of them on racks over here.
Yes, we stacked them all up on a shelf, and then we're just, how much stuff can we pack into our house, because we already have a shed full of photo stuff, and then a room and another room, and then the other room, and now we've started to the fun fabric backgrounds, which are amazing, and I love them to pieces. And this is what I wanted to do in 2002. With the backgrounds that we had, something like this.
And those are for events, right? Or mostly?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and for specialized sessions too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this one behind us, we are doing for the Dogs Days of Summer. We've teamed up with a local groomer because we want to get in front of her clients. So we've teamed up with them to do a fundraiser for a local, their
shelter.
It's a local shelter. And so we're doing the Dog Days of Summer. And so we decided to go with a beach shop background. I know you can't see it all, but then we've got a nice sandy floor that goes with it too. The quality of backdrops are so much better than they were even 10 years ago. We are just fired up. Oh yeah. And some of the AI stuff is just amazing. Like, I don't think I put any of if you hop back out of this real quick, let me show you our Valentine one. We were super impressed with this.
Back out to the home.
Yep, back out to home and go to events there with the gold background.
Okay.
And then over to the top right-hand corner.
This one here?
Yep.
Yeah.
This was our favorite background so far.
This was John's
wow,
favorite
that's nice.
background. Yeah, make one of those big. Oh my gosh, these dogs are
which one do we do? Which one do we do?
Show one that shows a little bit more of the background. So maybe this down far right-hand corner.
This chocolate lab here?
Yeah, that one.
Oh man.
No way you can see more of it. And there's a whole panel that goes to the right as well. So it's a 3D room. We didn't use it. We shot at their store for this day. This was a fundraiser that we did for a different animal shelter. Because that's, like I said, we spent last year getting in front of people with pets. So this is how we did it,
I'll have to if I ever get a chance to bring Willow up to Washington, we'll come see you.
Oh, we'd love it. We'd love it.
She's a loud dog, though.
Oh, yeah, she is.
She's a big girl.
Yeah.
She's apparently a lap dog, though.
Yes. Yeah, we saw that last episode.
So this is Coco, and she just won the local Wenatchee Valley Humane Society's King and Queen for Apple Blossom, and Coco just won Queen.
Oh, congratulations, Coco.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, next Saturday is the big parade.
That's right, Apple Blossom Festival in Wenatchee. Yeah, so she's the queen of the Apple Blossom, the Humane Society.
Yeah, it's just for the Humane Society.
So they ride in the parade. They have a float. Yeah,
she get a sash.
I don't know. They might get her one.
Yeah, I think they had little crowns that they wore too.
Oh, that's cute.
It was just something kind of neat. But this was definitely shows you some of the quality of the printing now is just amazing.
Yeah, so that's like a floor piece and the backdrop, huh?
Indeed, yes.
Wow.
And then there was another whole section that looked like you were walking down that would go over to the
It'd
Let's
be
see,
to
the
your
dogs
right.
left. Yeah.
Mhm.
It would be to our right if we're walking down the street. It's
Yeah.
just super neat.
It's not in any of these shots because we
Oh,
only took
okay.
2 panels for this. It was too tight in their little room.
Yeah.
But we raised $1,000 in 4 hours for the Humane Society.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we were pretty stoked. I mean, these are
Yeah.
super micro shoots. This is like 5 minutes tops. Get
Yeah.
in, getting kind of
Yeah.
comfortable. Boom, 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 done.
Oh, look at this guy.
Which people love because you can't stretch out yeah, that's Crew, I think.
Isn't he cute?
Yeah. Yes, he was actually the runner-up for King.
Oh, was he? Oh,
Yes. Yeah. it
maybe
ended
next year.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's
this has been
cool.
a great way for us to meet people. We also found a local off-leash dog park that's not very well advertised. And so
Mhm.
we met up with the guy that's kind of running the whole thing. There's like 1,400 dogs that belong to this Facebook group. Well, their owners do.
Yeah,
But-
but the dogs are our primary clients. We're trying to figure out how to talk dog. To woof woof woof.
Oh, yeah.
in the camera and see if that'll get them to get their parents to call us. To get their portraits taken.
Well, we've done cats and chickens and stuff, but dogs are definitely the bread and butter. Did
I
more
see a
people.
llama? An
Yes.
alpaca?
Alpaca.
Yes,
They're alpacas.
that was in our
Portfolio.
next one down there. Yep, portfolio, pets portfolio.
Do you want to talk about the decision to sort of like shift over towards pets? Because that's not super new, but somewhat, right?
Because it's just a lot more fun
Okay.
than just photographing people.
Okay.
We've been doing kind of everything because Wenatchee's maybe 60,000, and so it's not a huge metropolis, and so
Mhm.
we do basically the only thing that we really refer out now is to a student of mine when I taught at the college. She's a great baby and small family photographer. So anytime there's newborns, we don't do that. We
Okay.
refer it out to her. But pretty much we do anything else because we love it. We love the variety. And
Mhm.
so there's nobody really doing pet portraits here. Hey, this is a new market. Let's go. And we did a couple and we had so much fun. We're like, let's go for it. And we're in our 50s now. And so we're kind of ready to kind of get out of weddings. As much as we've enjoyed them through the years, we've had a great track record, but we're kind of done with them. And so I wouldn't mind getting out of weddings. We still like to do other events, but kind of
Events-
drop the wedding market and get more into just pets.
Yeah, and events are tons
fill
of
that gap.
fun, but it's an all-day commitment. So yes, we love doing them, but we're not going to do that every single day because we would pass out. We're dogs. I could photograph a dog every single day. It's so much fun, but you have to mop and everything in between their sessions. And it is just a super awesome feeling because when people come to see us with their pets, they love those pets. They love them very, very, very much.
Oh, I know.
And they
Yep.
they just convey that the whole time. So they're so happy to be here. No matter what is going on, they come through that door and they're excited, And people don't do that when they're getting their portraits taken. They're nervous. Sometimes they're kind of grumpy. They're a little shy. Dogs come in and we're like, hey, how you doing?
What are we doing?
That's
Well, let's
it.
do this.
All right, let's go.
And their pet parents are super excited to have their portraits taken too. And it's a kick in the pants fun.
Well, and we've always been about enjoy the experience, love the results. And so even for pet portraits, it's not the person, but their owners here and they see the whole experience. And so when they see the results, they remember the fun time of it.
Mhm.
You can have great portraits, but if you had a lousy experience, those are tied together.
Yes.
Or you can have a great experience, but your pictures don't turn out so good. And then they're kind of stuck together. So that's always been our main focus is and love the experience and really enjoy it, but ultimately love those results too.
And that's kind of a philosophy you've had ever since you started.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. Absolutely.
I love this dog's expression. I don't know what it is about him, but it's just, I don't know. It's like the matter of factness.
Yes. Yeah. When we did a fundraising calendar for the Humane Society, and it was so much fun. Is Pepe's picture in here?
Which one?
We got to pick,
no.
we did treat catching for the year. That was like our theme for the calendar.
So if you click on the one that says Humane Society, go up just a little bit. That green.
Right there.
That was the cover for the
We're
the calendar we put together for the Humane Society. So we did all the work. We booked all the sessions, got all the shots, found the place to print the calendar, printed it all. We got sponsors to cover the printing cost.
so much
And
fun.
so we basically handed over about $25,000 to the Humane Society.
But not, I mean,
They ended up not selling them all. They
But-
ended up giving some away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Pepe.
This is Pepe.
Okay. So it's like a close up and then the treat catching photo for
was.
each.
Because we wanted to create something fun,
But
Yeah.
look at Pepe's expression. Pepe doesn't want to hear about your excuses. Pepe wants you to do stuff. Get it done. Yeah, and this was so much fun. And that was one of those things. Find us a good printer,
Mhm.
for me and John. And so that's what we did. We, contacted everybody because we're looking for good quality, but a price point that they can make money from, because you don't want to do it and it'd be so expensive. They only make $2 off of it,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
it
that-
was a lot of effort.
Yeah, we've never done so much free work in one year
Yes.
ever as we did last year.
Ultimately, very worth it, though.
Oh,
we made some
gosh.
great connections
And so much fun.
and great portraits and a lot of happy
Yeah.
clients.
And you raised a lot of money for the Humane Society too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have,
Yeah.
which we're happy to. We've always wanted to, no matter what we're doing, being able to give back to our community is a big deal. And so
Sure.
whether it's with our time, some money, but mostly time.
And the gift of our photography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you click on the picture, that's third row down, second over. Yeah, that one.
Uh-huh.
Those are the owners of that pet shop I was talking about, that pet store in town.
Oh, okay.
We took the picture on the left. That's our original. And then the magazine does all their markup for their spot that's called Sanity Files.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in every issue. And so that was the first time we had Carlos in the studio.
Oh, yep. There he is he rocks that bow tie.
Isn't
Indeed.
he handsome?
Yeah.
He's so handsome.
He's a great guy.
Oh, that's cool.
So, first year in and get some published work, we were pretty happy about that.
Oh, that's great.
It's really not that big a deal.
Oh.
It's up to other photographers,
Yeah. There's
But
the
hey,
treat catching.
Yes.
Yes.
He was one of our first guys that we had. Yeah, he made January.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see there's another one there too with the. So that's the same dog in both of those pictures?
Yes.
Yes.
That way you get to see both of them. You
Yeah.
want some fun because you're buying the calendar as a fundraiser, but you don't want boring. Oh, it's a nice dog, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So we wanted, but I didn't want to do just treat catching. So I said, hey, I'm going to put in the extra time, and there's always some great portraits of the dog.
Yeah.
But we mainly focused on the treat catching part of it aspect. And so I was like, well, let's do it this way. And so we just combined them in different pictures.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fun because you kind of see like their calm state and they're like, give me that food state.
Yes. Yep.
It's the epitome of, it's a great portrait, but then the goofy one of your kid, because your kid's gonna make a face. And then you get both. It's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
And we just
Cool.
had one cat this year. So we're really trying this year to get more adoptees variety.
Mhm.
Because we do know that the Humane Society has adopted out more than just cats and dogs. And so we're really trying to target different pet owners. So
Where
it's
did I
not
see
always-
that? I know I saw an alpaca somewhere, but I don't know where it went.
I don't know where it went either.
Was it in the?
Oh yeah, it's probably in
it's
portraits.
in portraits. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And this was our 10th.
Look at those cute-
Right.
Aren't those
And this was not a
fantastic?
paid shoot. This was a friend of ours. We just wanted to photograph some alpacas.
Okay.
We wanted
And
to
I got
try
a
out
chicken,
some
too.
different styles of shooting.
Well, she
Sure.
does sell these hanging baskets. So we did take some marketing pictures for her
Okay.
while we were there.
They are for sale right now too. If you need a gift for your mom, they're just over on Cascade Street. But yeah, and they have chickens and
Uh-huh.
roosters. But I really like doing the down angle up into the sky with the lights. We still
Yeah.
take lights. We use lights on
For
location, and
when we can.
I think this one's really nice.
The seriousness.
They were so shy.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
really difficult. Yeah, they were super timid.
They hadn't met us before, and we're coming at them with a light and a camera, and they were just kind of like, I didn't give you my permission to take my portrait. They did. They had a little bit of attitude.
Yeah, and I think
This-
llamas are a little bit more like, hey, get in your face and sneeze on you and stuff, where alpacas are a little more like, whoa, are you safe?
Because they went right over to their owner, and they were totally fine with her. That they didn't know us, so
Yeah.
they were like,
Yeah.
I didn't sign a
They
waiver.
were shy.
Yeah.
So we were happy with what we got, because they were really like on the run. And so I had to kind of like, army crawl on with
Yeah.
my camera and then get kind of in position, all super slow. But we got some, so we're happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun. I've never shot an alpaca, so I don't know what that's like.
Well, be prepared. They will be shy.
Unless they already know you.
Yeah. Well, since I don't really know any alpacas, it would probably be they'd probably be scared.
Yeah, you just never know what's going to happen in your future, huh?
One thing, and we've been talking about the business and stuff. I kind of want to go back. What are things about running the business that you wish you had known from the beginning? And I'm sure you've learned a lot from the time you started. Like, what sorts of things kind of come to mind when you think about that?
Go ahead.
When we first started, it was all print orders because we were still transitioning from film. We're that old. And so digital was just coming on. And so I really wish that we probably would have gone back in time. And even though digital came on, not resorting to shoot and burning and actually sticking with prints. Like
Okay.
that's where the money is. I mean, you can.
That's where the memories are too.
That is true, because so many times people got their great memories and they're on some computer or lost on some crashed hard drive. So if I could go back in time, I would have stuck with our
print model.
print model and then get the digitals with them.
Okay. And then that's what you're doing now. So
Yes.
right.
Except for like events. If we go shoot an event, it's all digital. And
Yeah.
so we hand out event cards, they go into the gallery, find their photo, download it. So for stuff like that, it's still shoot and burn, which is great. That works great for events and stuff like that.
And that way we don't have to keep track of any orders or any people's names or what
At
their
all.
picture was, any of that. And usually the host pays, depends on the event, but the host will pay us. And they're basically including it in the event. It's part of the event.
So we don't have to take a Square reader and charge while we're there. We don't do that type of stuff. It's like, if I don't want to collect money on site unless it's maybe for a fundraiser, then I will. But other than that, all of our stuff is prepaid. We don't show up unless we're prepaid. And that's one of the things we learned too.
Right away.
Is you get your money up front, even if you just are starting off and you need to just have a retainer, because it's so easy for people to, it's not convenient now. And you've already, your time is set. You've spent time emailing, setting it all up, not doing other stuff. So you can do that session, and so collecting money up front assures that people, for the most part, unless there's an emergency, they're going to show up for their session.
Yeah, it's a commitment basically that you're going to show up.
Any other things? Like from
I
the
would
beginning?
say hire an accountant.
Oh yes.
Or CPA.
Yep.
CPAs don't cost you money; they save you money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're running a business, and especially if you struggle in any area of that, figure out how to keep track of your bills, how to get them into an income statement, whether you use a computer program or Excel. And if you have to pay quarterly taxes, make sure that information is to your accountant in time to pay your taxes on time. Always pay your taxes first, no matter what. You don't pay yourself from the money that you have to pay, whether it's your sales tax or your income tax. Depends on your state, of course. Pay the tax man first.
I can't remember. Does Washington have state tax too?
No.
Oh,
no income.
We have
it's all sales tax.
Sales tax and the B&O tax.
Yep.
Okay.
And we pay quarterly sales tax. And so we just never spend that money. That's not our money. And so we've learned, we've been doing it over 20 years now, is the government will shut you down really quick. if you don't pay your taxes. And they let everybody know too.
Public record.
Yeah. Like our donut shop just got shut down for 3 days because they didn't pay their employee taxes for 3 months. 3 months, that was it. And boom, public notice. Like everybody knows that, glaze is certain. Like,
But then everybody has to go in there and give their 2 cents, which is super not necessary at all. It's not kind either, but pay your taxes first. And then also, if you want to do charity work, if you want to donate to charities of your choice, you cannot write off your time. You cannot write off the fact that you went and shot a 6-hour event for free. There's no tax deduction for those. Money, you can tax deduct. You can deduct off your taxes. That's what you can deduct.
So if you're going to do a fundraiser, you collect the money and you as the business donate it to the shelter or whatever it is, because then you can write it off as a monetary donation. Anything else, they don't care.
So like when you made the $1,000 for the Humane Society, you gift that back to the Humane Society?
We did. So in that kind of event, we let Firehouse do all the money stuff. So they take care of it. So we're not taking money at the events. That's still something we don't want to have to do.
We're also in their space. They invited us to come shoot in one of their rooms. And it's a win-win because we get to meet their clients, but they also get to draw people in. And
and so we're gonna let them do the tax thing.
Okay, let them do it.
Indeed.
Yeah, they have a way bigger business than we do. We're peanuts compared to them. It's been a really nice growth for our community. We have 2 pet stores that specialize in really good foods, not just chain stuff, but and that one-on-one help, like to buy things in their store that they're there to answer questions. And it's Earthwise and Firehouse Pet Shops. And then we have one that's just for birds, which is pretty awesome if you're a birder. Yeah, it's just really amazing to see our community grow and include, the stuff that's around them. And it's not just all digital.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know we're getting close to an hour here, so I'm going to go ahead and drop us into this view real quick. And I always like to close out with advice for up and coming photographers. And I was just curious, what types of things would you like to share? I know we've talked a little bit about business stuff, but anything else that comes to mind?
Well, most photographers, because there's not a barrier to entry. You don't have to have a license. Anybody with a camera can be a professional photographer. So that's a challenge. In that case, all you can do is there's no barrier to entry. Anybody can be a photographer. So you need to be able to set yourself apart from the other photographers. But I think the biggest thing is most photographers start off and they develop their skill of photography, but they don't know a lick about business. And they're going to go out of business really quick because they can't rub a couple nickels together because they aren't charging enough. They haven't got down and actually looked at realistic numbers of how much do I need to make a day, a week, a month for this to be a viable
business
profession. Yes, make enough money to pay the bills and have some left over. You don't want to just pay the bills. And so my piece of advice was, if you don't really know much about business, dig in, learn some classes, find somebody that does. Sometimes you have to ask for what you need.
Small Business Administration has classes for people. You can go to your community college, and usually they have, adult education. You can do business classes.
I'm actually teaching a business for creatives class right now at Red Rocks Community College.
You know what we're saying then.
Yeah, you can have the best eye in the world, but if you can't sell anything, you're going to be hungry. You're going to starve, and then you're going to be living in a van down by the river.
Yeah, or if you can't budget.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting this money coming in. Yay, life is good. Well, guess what? There's going to be money going out too. So you have to be able to track both of it.
Like a business license and insurance. Because if you're a sole proprietor and something goes wrong, they can sue you. They'll take everything that you have. If you're a limited liability company, you have a little bit more protections. That's why you talk to a CPA, talk to a financial advisor. Don't just go, you know what? I take great pictures, so I'm just going to start a business. Get some help. I mean, there's no shame in asking. The most
Indeed.
successful people either read about being a business owner or ask other business owners or take classes. John did triple minor in college. So my history degree husband.
I did my BAs in history, but I have minors in philosophy and anthropology and economics. So it's almost an economics major because it's very interesting. And so that's where I got a little bit more of the business. And then when I came in and took over the camera shop, the retail, then I learned everything from my dad. That's where I got my business to be able to, what's a spreadsheet? What are cost of goods sold? What is this? I knew a little bit enough about economics for the basics, but the nitty gritty, I needed some help. And so I got some help. And so that way you can hit the ground running. You have a much better chance of being a successful photographer from the beginning if you can understand the business aspect and combine both of those, left brain, right brain, working together to, be creative enough, but to be grounded enough to, hold on and spend that money properly that your creative brain is bringing in. Yay, creative brain, yay, money. But now, right brain has to be able to spend it properly too.
Yes, budget.
And so many photographers, and this is kind of bygone now, it's not as much, but a lot of photographers, when you start a business, it's like, I want to get cups and pens and mouse pads and give them to people, and yay, I exist. And then there's your money. That's a waste of money.
Yeah, stuff adds up.
It does.
Really quickly.
It's just not worth it. So I also think of things outside the box. Like we have what we commonly refer to as rogue marketing. So what we're going to do is there's another off-leash dog park that we haven't visited yet. And so we're going to go there. Have got my camera. Well, it's got Wi-Fi that we can send to a little printer. And then we bought stickers with our name and a QR code on the back. So while we're down there, I'll be able to take a picture, hand it to them, and it's got our contact info on the back. But I'm giving them not just, hey, here's a business card. I got a great picture. I'll email it to you. No, here's a tangible object that doesn't really happen anymore. Everything's so digital.
Yeah.
So we want to stand out by handing them a print from strangers in the middle of nowhere of this great shot that we just happened to get because we were down at the dog park with them. So we try and think of kind of that rogue marketing that's not your normal type of marketing, and really just getting out. Like we did a headshot flurry, and we just hit the pavement and printed off a bunch of flyers and walked into businesses and introduced ourselves. Did about 30 seconds. Boom. Here's our info. Nice to meet you. And that's way better than sending an email that nobody's going to read. It's going to end up in their spam, and you're going to think, oh, I put all this work in. No, you didn't. You just type some stuff out and hit send. That's not working. You really need to get in front of people.
Yeah. And I'd say if you have certain clients that you're looking for, don't be afraid to ask your friends and family, hey, do you have a connection at Pepsi? Hey, do you happen to know somebody that works at the airport? I'd really like to get in the marketing department. Depending on what your genre is, you have to be willing to put your neck out there and meet people, and you have to be willing to ask for help. And sometimes finding good leads is asking for help. But when you're starting out, the more avenues that you can find to make money and get experience, the faster you're going to learn and grow.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really great advice, because I think, because the world is so digital, we just sort of like go straight to sending a message in social Instagram or an email or something like that. And that face-to-face time is really valuable.
Yeah,
it is.
And it's not the norm anymore. And so you will stand out if you send a handwritten card to somebody, or you go in and introduce yourself physically in person. Because email marketing, unless they're already a client base, that's going to work great. But you're not going to reach new clients through email marketing. You might get a few, but not nearly as direct as going out and being where the people are. So don't be shy if you're new in it. If you're shy, there's even Toastmasters where you can go and they actually teach you how to get up in front of groups and speak. And that was some of the help that we got through BNI. We would have to stand up, and talk to a group of people. Well, now we can go talk to anybody. It doesn't matter if it's one person or 1,000 people. No problem. You need to be able to, to take on any type of situation, whether it's an individual that you're trying to connect with, or you're speaking to a large group of people.
And then my one other really important piece of advice is if you're going to photograph weddings, make sure you have backup gear.
Yes.
You can redo family portraits. You can redo a senior session. You cannot redo a whole entire wedding. Make sure you have backup camera, backup cards, backup batteries, everything.
And if your camera isn't dual slot, don't shoot a wedding. Go ahead and get a camera that's dual slot, because you could take all the best pictures, but if that card fails, you're done.
Yeah.
And because we're photographers, people tell us their photography horror stories, and that's one we've heard a lot, and that's
indeed.
really sad because you can't redo a wedding.
No doubt.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't a wedding, but I actually heard a horror story. Somebody went down to Las Vegas and they took a bunch of photos and they accidentally formatted their card. And lost everything.
Yes.
Oh no,
Mm-hmm. And there are recovery programs.
Yeah.
Even if it's been formatted, but you may not get it all back.
Yeah,
and you're going to spend $400 to do it too.
Yeah, and when things come back from the dead, they're not always the same.
No, they're not. Truncated files. Yes.
Or zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think of Pet Cemetery.
That's fitting now, even more.
Well, as we close up here, how would you like people to follow you? What's the best way for people to keep in touch with what's going on with JP Portrait Studio?
Well, you can contact us anytime through our website, of course. But we are online. We post sporadically, but we're JP Portrait Studio on Facebook, Instagram as well. We have LinkedIn for some official stuff. But if you ever just want to chat, call us up. We're kind of old school. I don't mind talking on the phone at all. I can type really fast if you want to send an email. But we're kind of old school. So if anybody wants to contact us, give us a call. Send us an email.
All right. Well, open door. Okay.
Anytime.
Well, it's been really great to have you guys on. I know it's been, like I said, it's been 20 years.
It's so awesome, Jim.
We first worked together, and it's really cool to have you on here. So
Thank you for having us. It's very exciting.
You're you're not like our firstborn, but we're almost closer in age, but you were still one of our kids from way back in the day, and we're so proud of you and what you've done with it. It's just super awesome to see how you've grown up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, it's the truth. I mean, you're taller than we are, but someday we'll grow up too.
Okay, or maybe I'll grow down.
Okay.
You will start shrieking.
Hey, young at heart. That's what it's all about.
That's right.
It is. Attitude.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, everyone, I will see you guys on the next episode. And let's wrap it up there. Thanks, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. It helps us connect with more photography lovers just like you.